All right, we'll go ahead and get started. As usual, after we win, we've got our players of the game offensively. Young man played 41 snaps. It was great to have him back, scored 2 touchdowns, converted a designed 2-point play on 41 snaps. Running back Kenneth Farrow. Defensively, a young man I've talked about at length, getting better every week. Played 51 snaps, had 8 tackles, a quarterback hit, and a quarterback sack. Our rush end, Trevor Harris. And then on special teams, a young man who, again, I've said for a while now, I think is one of the best in the country. Punter Richie Leone made his only field goal attempt, made 2 extra points, had 5 kickoffs, 4 of which landed in the end zone, and then punted 6 times, 58 yards, 57 yards, 46, 45, 42, and 40. And as the final one, 42 yards, pinned them back late in the game at their own 3-yard line. So another great game by him. Scout team, players of the week. We've got a theme. Their first name is all Cameron this week. Offensively, Cameron Oliver. Defensively, Cameron Dobbenmeyer, and on special teams, it was Cameron Klepeski. So another good win for our program, another team win. Very proud of our defense, the effort they gave. They were on the field for just under 36 minutes. Really played well, created 4 turnovers, and really happy again with the way they tackled. We had 6 missed tackles. Our goal each week is to have under 10, so we've achieved that goal now for the 5th consecutive game. Really going into this game, while people talked about Memphis's defense, I don't think people gave Memphis's special teams enough credit. We certainly recognized their talent going into this game and challenged our guys, and I was happy with the way our guys responded. Our number one goal, I should say, each week is to win the battle of field position when it relates to special teams. I should say, again, our number one goal in special teams each week is to win the battle of field position. That we did by a margin of the 32-yard line to the 19-yard line. So that is very significant, meaning after all of our special teams plays, we averaged our starting position on the 32, and they averaged the 19. And we pinned them inside the 20-yard line 6 times. Our goal is to do that twice per week. So again, really happy with the way our guys played in the kicking game. Offensively, I didn't feel like we were able to get into a good rhythm. We did make some plays, certainly enough to win the football game. I liked our first drive. We were able to hit Daniel Spencer down the seam for that touchdown pass, and we did start fast. We had 9 drop balls offensively. We had 7 penalties, so we were going the wrong way at times and could not sustain. But again, when it was all said and done, I liked how we took care of the football, only turned it over 1 time, so we were +3 coming out of the game. And again, made some plays down the stretch. Xavier Maxwell with the catch down the sidelines. Ryan Jackson's screen that he caught and took it for 44 yards. There were some big plays that we made, and enough offensively to win the game. Moving on to the next one, BYU, very talented football program, and when you look at this team, the first thing that stands out is how physical they are in their play and in their presence. They're big across the board, big at skill positions, receivers, running backs, defensive backs, and they're extremely physical. So it'll be a great challenge for us. They've got tremendous athletes. They've got great players. Certainly a coaching staff we've got a lot of respect for, been there a long time, and have done a great job with that program. So, we'll continue to focus first and foremost on what we've been doing to get us to this point, what we have to do, we feel like, to be successful Saturday, and look forward to getting out there this afternoon and installing our game plan for this evening's practice. Any questions? No, this is, it's both. It's the biggest because it is the next challenge. And again, I've talked to our staff, our coaches, our student athletes about we are not looking back and we are not looking past anyone. We're putting all of our focus on the next opponent, which certainly this week is a very formidable one in BYU, and it's for that reason it's the biggest, because it's the next. And again, the things that have gotten us to this point in terms of winning our first 5 games is what we got to continue to do. Take care of the football on offense, creating turnovers on defense. We've got to tackle. They're going to be bigger and more physical in terms of guys we've been tackling. But again, those are the things we've got to do. We've got to cut down on penalties and put a game plan together and execute it on all 3 sides of the ball.
Tony, can you just kind of you hit on this Sunday, but just the defensive performance early on, what you like, what the difference has been maybe between the 2 seasons from last year, or is it just the influx of new players and the production that you've gotten from those guys? Well,
it's a number of things. I mean, we've got some new players. We obviously have some new coaches. When you look at the production, we're creating turnovers, and again, that's if you want to win football games, you better hold on to it offensively, you better take it away defensively, and that's what we're doing right now. And the kids are competing at it, taking pride in it. They practice that way, and they're certainly playing that way. They're tackling. Again, I've been here 6 years, and I've been coaching, I think, 18 years, and our guys right now defensively and on special teams are tackling as well as I've ever been around. I mean, rarely are you seeing a guy completely miss on a tackle, and because of that, we're giving up a limited amount of what you'd term an explosive play. So, the kids are playing extremely well, and it goes back to me sounding like a broken record, saying we've simplified with Coach Gibbs and our staff, and we're still going to be aggressive, but we're emphasizing the techniques and the fundamentals and making sure our guys know what to do, so when the ball's snapped, they can play fast.
Kind of starting to move into like the teeth of the schedule with a lot of conference games coming up. Do you think you'll continue having 2 quarterbacks play as long as they're both playing well?
We'll see, and again, people continue to ask me coming up in this part of the schedule and that, we're focused on BYU, and whether it's 2 quarterbacks, 1 quarterback, 3 quarterbacks, regardless of position, whatever we feel like we've got to do to beat BYU and be successful this week, that'll be our game plan.
And I guess also, BYU game, it's a big game. People are excited about it. It's also homecoming, a lot of distractions, pep rallies, a lot of appearances. Are you kind of worried about your team, and those distractions and, beating those?
I'm not, no. And again, I think as a coach, you need to control that and try to set the tone each week and really try as best you can to control the atmosphere and environment they're going through every day. We try to make them aware ahead of time what is going to be out there, the noise, if you will, that they're going to hear. And again, I'm excited it's homecoming, but I haven't stood up in front of the team this week and told them, well, it's homecoming, so we need to prepare differently than we have or watch more video. It's the next game, which makes it the most important game. And again, I think to this point we've done a good job making sure our young men understand the atmosphere that's going to surround them on a daily basis heading into each game.
Tony, you had mentioned the ability to use maybe 2 rush-ins on the field at the same time. You have 2 listed this week on the depth chart. Is that just something you like to, is it situational, or do you like to just experiment with having those 2 guys on the field at the same time?
Well, we're trying to, a couple of things. We're trying to get our best players on the field, guys that we feel can be productive, certainly be successful, put them in a position to be successful. We're playing 9 defensive linemen. We're rotating guys, keeping them fresh, moving them around a little bit. And, you look, when we come in on Sunday, we look at how many plays, how many snaps a young man's played at the defensive line. It may be 30, 40, 50 snaps and not 80 or 90. So it's keeping them fresh and allowing guys to make plays because of how fresh they are. It's fun. It's not fun to watch the other offense put a drive together, but it is fun after 2-3 snaps to see 4 guys run off the field and 4 other guys run on the field and continue to play at a high level. So, you know, regardless of where those guys are playing, again, Trevor Harris has done a great job picking up both the rush end position and our defensive end position, and you know, he's been very, very productive for us. Went in on the last defensive snap against Memphis, was able to get pressure and get a quarterback hit to make him throw it away. So, you know, we'll continue to rotate those guys, keep them fresh, and you know, continue, I think, to have success and have production from our defensive line.
And you've hit on this, but from Oliphant to go not only from third string to, I think he started at two of the linebacker positions this year, just to have him in there. I think he's coming off his best game, 13 tackles, just to see that development. Can you just kind of talk about where he's come from in such a short amount of time?
He has come a long way in a short amount of time, you know, and again, you go back, I can't do the math in my head standing up here, but back to last March and April when he was third string on the depth chart and, you know, kind of going to be a special teams role player for us. And I think our defensive staff, Coach Hargraves, our new linebacker coach, has done an outstanding job coaching his position. And Ephraim is a completely new football player this year than he was a year ago. And he's flying around. He is making great tackles. Caused a fumble in the game the other day with an absolute tackle that you'd put on clinic tape. It was a form tackle, put his face mask right on the football, and it came flying out of there. So he's doing a great job, and really proud of him being an example of a guy who's you know, third string on the depth chart, knows that. Works his rear end off to move up the depth chart. When the season began, was not a starter for us, and has now become one of our most productive student athletes in our entire program.
Coach, according to the notes, outscoring opponents 115-33 in the second half. With a young football team like yours, you go in at halftime, coaches come up in front of the kids, make adjustments. But it's impressive that your team goes out and not only, you know, listens to what you guys say, but they put the plan into action in the second half of these games. How much does that please you as the head coach and have your kids respond to what you're trying to do? Your in-game adjustments.
It certainly does please you, and I think a couple things. You know, when you come in at halftime, it's like we came in. Well, I'm going to say this, and then I'll give you this example I was about to say. When you come in at halftime, they've played 30 minutes. They've got 30 minutes left. And I mentioned this a few days ago. Our defensive staff gets together and talks about adjustments. Certainly our offensive staff does as well, and our special teams coaches do as well. I address the team first. But when they come in at halftime, you know, the feeling is always different than it was when you took the field before the game started. And they're looking, in my opinion, they're looking to the coaching staff to I think press the right buttons and send the right message before they go back out on the field. And certainly we're making adjustments schematically and what we've got to do to be successful in the second half. But, you know, we come in at halftime against Memphis, and again, I as soon as we get in, I address them first for the first 2 or 3 minutes while our offense, defense, and special teams coaches are meeting. And, you know, I told them when we came in at halftime, I said, you can hear a pin drop in this locker room, and we're winning this game. And so, you know, I think a lot of it has to do with how are you going to respond at halftime as a coach. You know, I went back into the offensive and defensive coaches and said, hey, go out there, and when you make your adjustments, be positive. We're winning the football game. It doesn't feel like it in the locker room right now, but we're ahead. And we were ahead after the first quarter. We were ahead after the third quarter. So I think it's important the message you send. As important is the adjustments you make. You know, I've been places before where, and you know, worked for other coaches or been on other staffs where you're winning at halftime, and a coach wants to go in there and yell and scream and throw a grease board, and all of a sudden you come out and the kids are flat or the kids are shell shocked, and that's not our approach. Certainly not with a young group of student athletes.
Coach, where are you at on the offensive line? It seems like it's been a little bit of a work in progress, mixing people around, but through half, you know, you're almost at the halfway point. Can you just kind of assess where you are at that unit?
No, it's an interesting question, Joseph, because when you look at our offensive line, we're really playing without two starters. You know, Ty Cloud has been a multi-year starter, was a starter all through the spring, and lined up next to Ralph Aragru at the left tackle position all spring. So then you get into August, and Ty gets an injury, he misses the first 2 weeks, he comes back, sustains a second injury, misses the next 2 weeks, and is now kind of easing his way back in, playing limited, but as a backup. And then we lose Ralph with a knee injury in the first game. So we lose two starters early on, and trying to shuffle some guys around. You know, DeAnthony Sims has been a right guard, a left guard, now he's a left tackle. Rowdy's been a left tackle, now he's in at left guard. And, you know, I think we're trying to get more consistent there, and I feel like that will come. But, you know, I think that's an area where we certainly hope to see some improvement this week. I think we've done a good job in terms of not giving up as many sacks, but I think in the run game we've got to do a better job creating running lanes for our backs up front, and again I hope to see that this week.
I guess that fits in Van Noy for BYU. I think he got All-America consideration last year, but he was second in the nation in sacks. Is the emphasis this week just on guys like that up front?
Absolutely. I mean, Kyle Van Noy is good of a outside linebacker, rush type guy as I've seen. He is, for his size, he is so athletic, can change direction. There's a reason as a junior he was an All-American and has made some plays, not only this season but in years past, that are just you know, highlight reels. I mean, I think he's going to be a first-round draft pick. And again, up front, we certainly will know where number 3 is lined up Saturday. Anything else? All right, thank you.